I will honestly say some of the best friendships and some of the best connections that I made in college came from organizations. This is really the first time that I was like, out here in the world on my own. And as a major introvert, it was really hard for me to do things outside of my comfort zone. And so I stayed in my room a lot and I would miss out on things because maybe I didn't have someone to go with me. I mean, people can say what they want about Mason being boring, but like I said, it's really what you make it. Your Mason experience doesn't have to be boring. And again, Mason gets this rep of being a commuter school. People just come, go to their classes and leave. But it honestly can be a fun experience, but you have to push yourself and you have to take advantage of every opportunity that's there. I will say I've had many of classes where I was supposed to fail. But I literally went to every single, I went to office hours every single week that semester. And because I went to office hours every single week, my professor could see that I was actively trying and putting my best foot forward. And sometimes that's all you need to get you through. Don't come to college looking for your soulmate. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video and I am here to give you guys some tips for those of you who are coming into George Mason for the first time. I have not made a George Mason video in such a long time, and I feel like that was one of the things that made my channel grow, so to speak, was my George Mason videos. And so I figured, why not come on here and talk to the new class of 2027, I believe. Jesus, I'm getting old. But yeah, I wanted to come on here and maybe give you guys a bit of advice from someone that went to Mason all 4 years to try and make your first year at Mason a positive and memorable experience. So the first tip that I want to give you guys is to please join clubs. Join clubs. And I know that not everyone can afford the membership, because some clubs do offer memberships that you pay for to get, the t-shirt and to be able to go to member exclusive events. But even if you can't do that, just try to find a club that resonates with you and your interests and go to whatever you can. I will honestly say some of the best friendships and some of the best connections that I made in college came from organizations. When I was in my freshman year at Mason, I didn't really take advantage of the organizations on campus. There was a few that I was interested in and that I showed interest in, but I literally didn't go to the events. There were literally orgs on campus that I paid membership dues for, and I didn't go to a single event. And that was very dumb of me. And looking back, I should not have done that. But at that time, I was still really getting adjusted to being at college and being on my own. This is really the first time that I was out here in the world on my own. And as a major introvert, it was really hard for me to do things outside of my comfort zone. And so I stayed in my room a lot and I would miss out on things because maybe I didn't have someone to go with me, or maybe I wasn't 100% sure where they were having the meeting at. So I just didn't go, or I didn't bother to ask how to get there. And so I would encourage anybody that is looking to make friendships and looking to make connections at Mason, definitely take a look at some of the organizations that are on your campus. I'm pretty sure Mason has over 300. They usually have at least 300 orgs on campus. And also, if there's not an org on campus that has something that you're interested in, make a club. People make clubs all the time and they end up doing really well. I mean, there's clubs that were literally started maybe 2 or 3 years ago and they're thriving now. And so, I definitely would say look into orgs, see which ones speak to your interests, and start showing up to the events and see what it's all about. You really could make some lifelong friends by going to some of these events. Which goes into my next tip, which is to go to campus events. I find that a lot of people don't go to campus events because they think it's lame, or they think that it's not for them. would beg to differ. You need to go to campus events, especially if you were a freshman. They have so many events that go on in like the first 2 to 3 weeks of college. Go to every single one. If your RA is holding a floor event or an event for your whole dorm, go. I am telling you, because when I was a freshman, my RA at the time, she would hold game nights and study nights with people that lived on our floor and people that lived in our dorm, and those were some of the like most fun nights that I had in college. Truly, like when we would have our game nights and we would play card games or play Mario games in the lobby, like that was literally some of my favorite memories. So if anything pops up, please go. I know it's really hard. Again, if you're someone like me that's an introvert and it's difficult for you to talk to strangers or introduce yourself to people that you don't know. It is really hard trying to push yourself to go to things on your own. But I'm telling you, even if you got to drag your roommate with you, like find a way to go to these events, because it's really going to be fond memories that you look back on years later. And also, please go to at least one basketball game. That's literally what Mason is known for. I know we don't have a football team, which sucks. Which really sucks. I mean, we have club football, but we don't have like an official football team. But please go to at least one basketball game, even if it's not homecoming. And it's crazy because I never even I've been to a few basketball games, and I truly did enjoy myself. Again, it just was a way to get out of my dorm room and to be out and about. I never got a chance to go to homecoming, which is something that I regret. And again, it's because I could never get anyone else to go to homecoming with me. And usually homecoming games, people come from out of state to go to a George Mason homecoming basketball game. And it's usually very, very packed. So you have to like get there early, and sometimes you have to buy a ticket in advance. And I hate that I never got to go. I really wanted to have that experience of going to a homecoming game at Mason, but people just wanted to go to the tailgate, which is fine. And I encourage that as well if that's your thing, like going to the homecoming tailgates or any tailgates. I know they also have Gold Rush as well. So any tailgates or anything that pops up that, Mason has, definitely go. I know that Mason has a carnival, and they have like Mason Day in the spring semester as well. Like, I mean, people can say what they want about Mason being boring, but like I said, it's really what you make it. And I really think that, Mason does, or actually it's more so PAC, which is the Oregon campus that holds a lot of Mason-wide events. They've been doing pretty well the past couple of years with holding events that are for the whole campus, coming up with like different creative events. They also tend to hold a lot of events outside of campus as well, whether it's amusement parks, different things, different types of, off-campus events. They'll usually have opportunities to get like discounted tickets to go off campus and do a fun activity. Sometimes they'll hold free events off campus as well. And so definitely take advantage of any and every opportunity that you can find and that you're able to take advantage of. And yeah, just, your Mason experience doesn't have to be boring. And again, Mason gets this rep of being a commuter school. People just come, go to their classes and leave. But it honestly can be a fun experience, but you have to push yourself and you have to take advantage of every opportunity that's there. And that is something that I do regret. In my early years of college, I mean, I went to some things, but I definitely could have did a way better job of getting out of my dorm and going to things. And I know people will often say that after the first 2 weeks of school, nothing is happening. But like I said, if you're really paying attention, Mason is pretty good at holding events throughout the year. I mean, they'll have stuff for Halloween. And also, too, this goes back to me saying, like, get involved in clubs and organizations on your campus, because there's a lot of campus orgs that hold yearly events. Some of the ones that I'm familiar with, back when I was a STEM major, they had this organization, or they have this organization called Women of Color in STEM, and they have like an annual Friendsgiving every single year. They also have a yearly brunch that they hold every single year. They also have the NPHC, which I am also a part of. They always hold, step expos, step shows. There's a lot of orgs on campus that do hold events like every single season. And so, yeah, definitely just And a lot of it is, on social media. People don't really like post flyers up around campus anymore. A lot of it is on social media. And so just keep an eye out. And I know they have Mason 360 as well, which is relatively newer, where you can go on there and see what's happening like that day. So say it's like a random Thursday and you're like, oh, I have nothing to do. Let me go on Mason 360 and see who's having an event that I can go to. And so there's definitely options out there to like get out and be active and be social. Another tip that I have on the academic side is getting to know your professors and going to office hours. Now, I know this may seem tedious and you probably don't want to take out the extra time, but let me tell you, it is beneficial, especially if it's for a class and a subject that you're not good in. I am telling you, going to those office hours saved me. When I had to take, what was it, calculus? I think it was calculus. When I had to take calculus, that class kicked my behind. But I literally went to every single, like I went to office hours every single week that semester. I went every single week. And because I went to office hours every single week, my professor could see that I was actively trying and putting my best foot forward. And sometimes that's all you need to get you through. Because I will say there's definitely been times where, you might be struggling or you might not do so well on the exams. But because your professor has seen your face, they've spoken to you, and they see how hard you're trying, they might give you like an extra couple of points. And that has happened. I technically failed calculus, and my professor gave me enough points to pass that exam, to pass the class, because I went to office hours. And so I would highly, highly recommend, you don't have to do it for every single class, but if it's a class that like if it's some type of like biology or accounting and finance, if you're a business major and you're taking accounting and finance, I'm telling you, get to know that professor, because they might help you out. I'll even say too, well, do I want to say this on camera? I'm not gonna say it on camera, but I will say I've had many of classes where I was supposed to fail. But in me keeping a communication with my professor and me showing that interest and me wanting to do well, they looked out for me in the end. But the only way you can get that is if you build that relationship with your professor. And so definitely get to know your professors. Also, another tip for those of y'all out there, don't come to college looking for your soulmate. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It shouldn't be a main focus, right? I mean, obviously things can happen and you could, meet somebody that, you might end up being with for a lifetime, or you might end up with someone that, it just was for the moment. Don't go into college with that being your main focus, because I think that is also something that I regret doing. I did not have the best experience in high school when it came to dating and getting male attention. And so one of my main goals with going to college was that I was going to finally find somebody. And, although, again, it can happen, and I'm not saying not to go into it with your heart and your mind open, just don't make that a priority. You still need to be focused on you and your studies and, getting your career together. If it happens, great. But don't lose sight of everything else trying to find somebody. Like that's definitely gonna do more harm than good. And the last thing you want to do is lose yourself in trying to find that. Oh, also another tip. I don't know why I almost forgot to say this, like I haven't been saying it in every single video. And even though this video is geared more towards freshmen, I'm still gonna say it. For my freshmen out there, or anyone else that goes to George Mason that is watching this video, start looking at internships. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if it is not a requirement for your major. Start looking at internships. I'm not saying you have to get an internship this semester. I'm not saying you have to get one next semester. But start exploring internships. And if you come across one that you feel like you can, incorporate into your current schedule, or you feel like, you can, that is feasible, I would start looking and maybe applying if you want to, right? I would highly recommend that the earlier that you start with internships, the better you will be. The current job market right now is not friendly towards recent college graduates. It just isn't. A lot of these jobs nowadays, they are looking for people that have 2 to 3 years of experience coming out of college. And the only way that you can set yourself up in the best way in this current job market, I don't know what the job market is going to be by the time that y'all graduate, but just to kind of get your foot in the door and to get a leg up, I would say start looking at internships as soon as possible. I made the dreaded mistake of not doing any internships in college because I figured that my leadership experience with campus orgs as well as just the degree itself was going to get me somewhere. It hasn't. And that has been the case for, I'd argue, thousands of recent college graduates who are now struggling because we're all realizing that we were told a lie and that we needed to do internships. And I was always someone that said, oh, I'm not going to stress myself out. It's not a requirement. Why would I add on an internship with all my other classes when I don't have to? And I regret it so bad. So if you can squeeze in 1 or 2 internships before you graduate, please do. Like if you want a fair shot in this job market when you graduate, or you're looking to have a job as soon as you graduate, internships are key. And that's not to say that, holding a leadership position on campus isn't valuable, because it is valuable. But unfortunately, a lot of companies just don't see the value in it. I'm hoping that changes in the next few years, but there's no guarantee in that. And just looking at how the job market is today, I just would highly, highly recommend getting that professional experience. Even if that starts at getting a part-time job on campus, just make sure that you are still building up your resume as you're going through your classes and as you're going through your college journey. One last tip that I will say to anyone that maybe struggles with studying and preparing for exams and tests, I would say to get a good study routine going, whatever that looks like for you. For me, getting out of my room did wonders, even if that meant going to the common room down the hall. Like, even if it was just that, or actually getting up and going to the library. I feel that sometimes when you try to study and do work in your room, it's easy to get lazy, it's easy to get behind and not be focused. I would recommend that when you are doing schoolwork, get out of your room. Get out of your room, go to somewhere that is not your room. Get your headphones, get some snacks, get you some Starbucks, or whatever it is that helps you to maintain focus and do that. Also, study groups are always good. I never had a study group, but if it's something, especially like math or science, I think study groups could definitely be beneficial, as well as the office hours that you should be going to. But yeah, all in all, I would just say prioritize you and prioritize what you want your college experience to be like. Yes, college is about, doing well in school, making sure you, cross that stage and get your degree. But you also want to make sure that you get the most out of it. College is one of the most memorable and fulfilling experiences I feel that you will ever have in your life. And there's so many things that you experience and that you learn from in college that you take with you throughout your, adulthood. And so you want to make sure that you leave Mason without any regrets, and that you do any and everything that you want to do and you make the most of it. And so all in all, do what you have to do to do well and pass your classes, but also have fun and live your life to the fullest. Your college experience truly is what you make it, and make sure that you take advantage of every single opportunity that comes your way. Whether it's an opportunity to grow your career, an opportunity to make friends, whatever those opportunities look like, if the door is open, walk through it. If the opportunity is there, take advantage of it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Please, if you have literally any questions, or if you want me to make any videos about anything else regarding George Mason, it could be food, dorms, certain professors, maybe what my experience was like as a marketing major, whatever it is, whatever questions you have, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.